What's up, guys? It is Matt. I'm on the couch. I just got done filming feeding the African night crawlers and the red wigglers that are in my Vermibag minis. I just want to take this time to say thanks for watching, and if you're new, please hit the subscribe button and the thumbs up. It really helps a lot. And also, I want to say thanks to the crazy worm lady, in video format here, for trusting me to kind of help with cocoons. And if anybody needs anything, make sure you hit me up at matt@nightcrawlercomposting.com. I have red wigglers and African nightcrawler cocoons, breeding going on right now for cocoons, and I will be starting European nightcrawlers up probably this weekend. So if anybody needs any composting worms or cocoons, hit me up at the email below or leave comments with a way to get in touch with you. All right, guys, enjoy the video. Okay, so we're into the Vermibag mini that houses my African night crawlers in the garage. Right off the rip, you can see that it's kind of dry on top, but that's fine. Quick disclaimer, I did a harvest on this system yesterday because it was full all the way to the top. I wouldn't have been able to put anything in it, food or bedding wise. So the worms are going to be pretty, I don't know about distressed, but bothered anyway. There's a big old pretty African night crawler. It's a little dry. I haven't been running the cover on it because I was worried about overheating. But now that I have some frozen water bottles, I'm going to put on top of it in the summertime. Remember, guys, I'm in Louisiana and these guys are in the garage, so it's nice and warm. I don't know if you can see, we got some African night crawlers. I pulled probably 15 pounds of castings out of the bottom of this thing yesterday. I am sure that there's no food in here. We're gonna look and see. Man, I'm gonna tell y'all, these African night crawlers are, I believe, my favorite composting worm that I have. They just rips through the food so fast. There's a piece of plastic. Let me get rid of that. No matter what I put in here, they seem to eat it in a week. And the worm density isn't super high unless they're probably down in the bottom where there's more moisture. But you can see there are large African night crawlers in this bag all through it. Where I've dug through, they are pretty. Man, they're pretty. When I was doing the harvest, there were some wisps down in the bottom, little baby worms. I'm trying to see if I can find any in here so I can show you how little these things get. I didn't realize how small newly hatched worms are until yesterday when I was sifting some screenings, and I saw this little bitty thing just flopping around, and I pulled it up closer and I figured out that it was an African nightcrawler wisp. That was kind of cool. Here's a little one. It's not a wisp, but it's a young worm, little guy. I'll try to check in on this through the middle of the week and see if I can't get some pictures of the little bitty tiny ones, because they're in here. There's one. There you are, little guy. I don't know if you can see this fella, but he is just absolutely tiny. Right there on my finger, or right there on my hand. I'm gonna dump him back in there. Let him go back to doing what he does, which is eating my scraps. So yeah, this bag is fairly dried out. I will definitely be feeding it today, and in the morning I will start putting ice on top of it. That will help add a little bit more moisture in it. The bag is, like, if I really squeeze, I'm not getting any moisture out of that. So it can stand to be a little moisture. I'm gonna feed, I've been feeding in one spot. I think I'm gonna try to feed it all across this week and make sure I put plenty of bedding on top of it because I use that wet bedding that Tom uses to really try to get some moisture back in here. But let's go look at the Vermibag mini that is in the house that has red wigglers in it, and then we will discuss our game plan here. The African nightcrawler bag. This is This has a lot of apple parts in it, some orange, some green beans, a little bit of lettuce, not a whole lot. But these guys will be able to get through this week for sure. So now I'm going to add my moist bedding. This bag I'm going to go ahead and put 2 containers in, just because I've got the room. And again, I've got clumped up paper because I'm lazy. So when you guys feed your bags or your bins or however you keep your worms, do not forget that bedding is also food. And it is important to remember that. But bedding is not like your foods that are going to heat up or anything like that, especially with this wet bedding. It is sat for a couple of weeks, sometimes a month, stewing and building up that microbial life before it goes in the bin. So the worms really like it. It's got coffee grounds in it, so it's got some food value, but mostly I consider this wet bedding exactly that, bedding. They break it down, they do their stuff with it, it takes longer, it doesn't heat up as much. It's just good stuff, man. This bedding is weird. It doesn't have any of my my kid's guinea pig poop in it. I don't know why. It does have some beetles. I'm gonna have to start using some diatomaceous earth or some neem cake, something. So that's a pretty good feeding for these guys. That's about 6 pounds of bedding and maybe half a pound of food, so not a whole lot. I'm gonna put the moisture barrier back in here, and tomorrow morning I'll come out and put some ice, frozen Sprite bottle on top of it to try to keep these guys cool. All right, guys, so that's Worm Wednesday for this week. Hope you guys have a good one, and I will talk to y'all soon. Bye. Okay, so we are back with my Vermibag Mini in the house that houses the red wigglers. This one is in the house because the red wigglers like a little bit cooler than the Africans do. So I just rotate them depending on the season. As you saw, I did keep my water barrier there to keep some moisture in here. There are red wigglers right up on top, just like you would expect. A lot of them. These little dudes go through some food too. However, I don't think they go through food as fast as African nightcrawlers do. That's just no science behind it, but that's my personal opinion. I mean, they're smaller worms. There's a lot of them in here. The moisture on this is nice. If I really squeeze it, I could probably get some drops to come out. But I'm not going to do that because, as you can see, there's little worms everywhere. This looks like it was part of some food. Yeah, part of an apple. Lots of little wormies on it. Not much food left over. This bag right here could stand to be harvested just so I have room to put more stuff in it. Honestly, guys, I got so many castings right now. I'm storing a bunch for myself, and I mailed out 20 pounds today to some friends, and I have a guy that's going to pick up 20 pounds tomorrow, so that's 40 pounds plus what I'm storing for myself. It is amazing how much castings I get from all of my worm collection here. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and feed this too. Again, I fed it right down the middle. Not much other than some cardboard and that little bit of an apple. If you guys can see these little red wigglers. Not seeing a whole bunch of cocoons. I'm sure there's some in here. But, I mean, my worm population is definitely not struggling. Alright, so I'm going to go get food together for my bags, and I will come back to this bin in just a few minutes when I feed it and show you that process, guys. You're back. Okay, so here we are back. As you can see, I've got the food dumped in here. It's still frozen. We got banana peels, we got strawberry tops, some leftover lettuce. Yeah, lettuce, radicchio, whole strawberries. This is not a huge feeding for these guys. It looks like a lot of food, but it is not, I promise. But it's what I got. I got all these mouths to feed. I'm gonna have to go back on the hustling up my co-workers' scratch grind so I can stay ahead of this. All right, so there's that. I'm gonna dump in probably 2 buckets of that. Well, let's spread this out. Maybe one will be plenty. Of moist bedding. I don't think there's room for another bucket, to be honest with you. That covers it good enough. So my moist bedding, I know some people use coconut coir. I don't use coconut coir because I don't like the saltiness in it that you can get if you don't get it rinsed. So I just elect to skip that. I've got some peat moss that I've used for other projects. Cardboard, paper, a lot of coffee grounds. I drink coffee. I like it. So that's my bedding mix. This paper right here is a little bit too clumped together and will never break down. So while I've got it here on top, I'm going to go ahead and separate it out some. That's one advantage of coconut coir, is you can coat paper very easily so it doesn't stick together. And if I would take my time when I make bedding, I would probably not have the issue of it clumping together, but as you see, it takes 2 or 3 seconds to break apart, so it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, that's it for this bag. Let me get some food and we'll go out to the African night crawler bag.